Helldivers 2 is a MMO PvE game where you play as a Helldiver who fight for Super Earth to spread managed democracy across the universe. And to do so, to spread democracy, they kill a lot of aliens, right? It's a very chaotic game. It's a very dynamic game that you can play with your friends. It's not a linear game, where you get from start to finish. It's a game that's more of a hobby, that you can play with your friends and you can complete missions and operations together in this galactic war, where you can play anywhere you want. So you play on the war front. So you choose a planet that's engaged in combat, where Super Earth is doing operations, and you choose a planet you want to play on. You can play on desert planets maybe, or Arctic planets, primordial lush planets, whatever the case might be. Nowhere is off limits for Helldivers in their pursuit to spread democracy. So you just land wherever you want to, and you spread democracy there. That's pretty much what you do. And you do that with friends. Want to add something there?
Yeah, I mean, the short version would be you're placed in the boots of a regular soldier, but with the full arsenal of the full military, with weapons and tools that you might not necessarily trained to handle. So things tend to get out of hand.
Helldivers 1 was top-down like the previous games like Magic Guns. What made it switch to third person for Helldivers 2?
With Helldivers 1 we had something that we felt very proud of and that we wanted to continue to build on. With this change of perspective, it added a lot of fun challenges for us as a studio to grow, but also with the game and how it plays for the players. So you need to be a lot more, communicate a lot more with your team, have better teamwork. You don't necessarily share the same image and screen as you did in the first game. Here you can wander off and do different things. So it posed a lot of fun challenges.
The game design philosophy of Arrowhead is also true for Helldivers 2. With all Arrowhead games so far, there's been some core game pillars, right? The core game design pillars. And these pillars, for example, is the co-op gameplay. I don't know if you played the previous games, but doing that with friends, being immersed in this sort of with a very chaotic type of game that this is, and it's also a very believable game. So as you know, we're known for friendly fire. Yeah. This all fits within what makes an Arrowhead game, right? Just having this believable, chaotic type of game. What we did when we started Helldivers 2 is to ask ourselves, what if we take all of these core design principles, but we make it in a third-person game instead? So that was the starting question, and then you sort of started off there. What new challenges would we have to solve there to still stay true to our our core game design, right?
And I should also add that we think that the most fun memories that you have as a player are the ones that you create yourself. So we're not doing linear games. We give the players the tools to play with and put them in a scenario, and then it's up to the players to create their own stories and memories, which is true for our old games as well.
You mentioned the friendly fire that you're known for.
Yeah.
Were there any challenges in adapting it from the top-down view to third person?
So the reason we have friendly fire in the first place is because this fits within what we consider to be a believable game, right? So in all aspects of our game, we stay true to this sort of believable nature of the game, right? So we don't have health bars, for example, on enemies, because that also goes a little bit against the believability. You made a lot of the enemies in the game, if not, close to all enemies. And if you shoot an enemy in the leg, for example, what would happen? Well, the leg should, come off, or at least be damaged, right? If you shoot it in the head, well, that's easy as a headshot. But you can shoot it in the arm or the hand or whatever. It needs to be damaged in that specific spot, right? That goes within that goes together with the believability. If you drop a nuke on the biggest enemy we have in the game, that enemy should then explode like this. That's why we can't have health bars. Friendly fire, if you just shoot your friend in the head, that's not going to be good for your friend, right? So we knew from the start, and we've known from the start in all Arrowhead games, that we need to stay true to this believability. But then to answer your question about challenges, I think definitely, with top-down games, it's easier to see when something happens. So you can say, shit, you did this thing and now I'm dead. But if it's third person and someone shoots you and it's out of view to you, you might not understand why it happened. And that's like from the beginning when we did that, it could feel a little bit like you were surprised and you didn't know why it happened, and you could feel like your reaction could maybe back then be that you were a little bit bummed out. So the challenge was to like, how do we make this very fun? You know, even if there's friendly fire, how do we make it fun? And there's a bunch of things that we did there, but I don't know. Did you play the game?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there any friendly fire?
A lot.
Yeah. Did you laugh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we set out to do. Like our goal was that this should be fun in our game. Yeah. And happy that you said you laugh. So we also do that. So that's been a challenge, but it's been very fun to solve that challenge.
And I mean, just in general, like no system is really thing in this game is not really hard to do in its own. Inputting the codes for a stratagem, that's not complicated. But doing it when you're chased by bugs or bots that are shooting at you, then it's super hard. Shooting at an enemy and then your friend runs in front of you and you accidentally kill your friend. Like those things add to the complexity to make it so much harder. And we don't want to like hold the players' hands. We want them to experience these challenges that they sort of create themselves.
When I started this, at Arrowhead, and I started making this game with everyone, just the first few days, I didn't really understand like, what's the point of this game? But then I remember I threw a stratagem. It's called a Tesla Tower, and the Tesla Tower just shoots out electricity, but it also kills everyone. So it's not the only enemies. Everyone who comes into the
radius.
The radius gets sipped. So I remember doing that with some devs I was playing with, and I just killed the whole team, right? Because I didn't know how it worked. I didn't know that this was going to happen. And it was such a joyful experience to me. I really liked it. And that's when it clicked to me. It's like, I get it. Like, now I see. I see. So, and then that prompted me, exploring the Arrowhead portfolio and trying it out and just learning about all this game. And I think it's just so fun. So, yeah. It's on the topic of friendly fire. That's a precious memory.
We could go back to the main campaign play.
Yeah.
So you have the game master that directs the missions or the major orders. I think.
Yeah, he can send out major orders that can sort of be goals for the whole community for them to complete. Yeah.
What would happen if the community decides to not follow the orders and just go in a different direction?
Yeah, that's a good question. There are more ways for the game master to interact with the players. So it won't be something that is just completely hidden behind one feature. It's going to be many different things. And we don't want to spoil all of it because we want, of course, there to be predictable new things coming up in the future, but we also want to surprise the players. And the game master will surprise you.
I can also just quickly add some context. So you can choose to play the game in whatever way you want. Like, so when you play the game, if you do solo or if you join up with people, you can choose to play missions anywhere that there's missions available, and there's many different kinds of missions, and you can still progress through the game by doing that. But then we have an additional layer of major and personal orders. That's more community-wide. So this is something that goes out to the entire community. Some of these orders are gonna be like the personal orders. They will be personal to you, and so they can be, for example, kill a specific enemy with a specific weapon could be such an order, but there are many various kinds of this. But the major orders, they also come in different shapes and sizes, but some of them will be community orders, where the whole community is set out to fulfill a specific task, right? And then when the whole community has done that task, then you get rewards for everyone in the game, right? So that's one of the distinctions, and that's why we have this, because we are really excited about this idea of having the community fulfill tasks to move the game forward and then unlock new content for everyone. So that's one of the main purposes of that system.
So, also on the campaign map, there were a few spots that were empty. Is that for future plans down the road, or?
We can say that there are future plans.
Okay.
We can also say that space is a big place, right? So if you're going to conduct a galactic war, you have to sort of be prepared for threats coming from everywhere. So who knows what will happen? But what we can say is that Helldivers 2 is there will be an unfolding narrative that will happen over time, right? Things will happen to the game. And also the the Galactic War, the front, right? So the where the war takes place, that can be pushed and pulled, right? So when you're playing, like when you start the game and you start playing on planets, these are not the only planets that exist. It just happens to be that this is where the war is taking place. And then if you can push back the enemy, then you will get to new planets that where you can play new missions against the enemies, right?
And also speaking of the future, you currently have the war bond system.
Yeah.
Will there be some sort of other battle pass systems for the game, or?
So I would say people have different definitions of this. With the game, you have a base war bond. It's called Helldivers Mobilize. You can progress through the war bond, and you can unlock many different things. These can be, weapons and armors and stuff of that nature. And then there's additional war bonds. We have the Steeled Veterans War Bond, also comes with a Super Citizen Edition that you can purchase already. And you can progress to these as well. And these offer new fantasies for you to explore. It's not pay to win in the sense that you don't get any real advantages over any of your other teammates who only have the base game, but it is different fantasies and it's different ways for you to play the game that we think is fun. And we will keep building this system. We keep building on this rather for the future. So we will be adding new war bonds that you can play through and you can progress through, right? But they will never expire. You can choose to engage with them or not whenever you want to, and you can also unlock them just by playing the game as well. So there's no demand to buy them. What you do is, in that case, it's more of a pay to skip system, so that you don't have to get that virtual currency by playing the game, but you can do that. So if you just play the game for what we think is a reasonable amount of time, and it's balanced to be fun. That's what we want. Like, we don't want it to feel grindy. We want it to feel fun and not overwhelming.
And it's also important to say that the base game that comes out, that is a full experience. You should have fun with that as well. And we're going to continue to add to that as well. So there will be free updates in the future as well.
Yeah, and that's the majority of the updates. So just to keep building on that just a little bit, we want to promote co-op, right? So the most important thing for us is that players can be playing together, right? That's going to be very important. It's very important for launch, and it will keep being important for the game as we go into live service. So we have a lot of content and updates planned that will be free for everyone, right? And that will be enjoyable for everyone, and that we really hope that everyone will really like to engage with, right?
And should Mikael, for example, have a warbond that I don't have, he can drop down stratagems when we're on a mission together, but I can use those stratagems, so we can still sort of share the equipment and the stuff that we have.
Yeah.
Speaking of sharing, you're launching on both PlayStation 5 and PC. Will there be crossplay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And this was very important for us from the get-go, because I was talking about the co-op, and this is the philosophy of our studio, that we want to bring people together, and that we think games are more fun when you play with friends. So it made total sense when we set out to make Helldivers 2, that we knew that, okay, we want you to be able to play on PC and on PlayStation 5. So we knew from the beginning we must have crossplay, because this fits within what we think our studio is about. So that's why from the beginning we developed the game both on PC and PS5 simultaneously. We did never prioritize one platform over another, because this was always the intention from the beginning. And I'm very happy to say that we are launching on the same day on both platforms. That's really cool, I think.
The ship in your destroyer in orbit.
Yeah.
You can customize it a bit, right? There's upgrades to it, and then you can add the arcade game.
Yeah. You're talking about the Stratagem Hero game, which is a mini game on the ship that you can input the stratagem codes, right? But you have to do that. If you do it very quickly, you can get to a higher level. It's just a fun little mini game. This is a mini game that comes with the Super Citizen Edition. We have the base game that you can buy already, and you can buy the Super Citizen Edition. And with the Super Citizen Edition, you get an additional war bond called Steeled Veterans, and you also get this mini game, and you get like a Super Citizen status as well in the game. Yeah.
What are your favorite moments or memories in the game that you had your Tesla?
Yeah.
Sort of thing?
There are many, but I saw just when we played the other day with Pilen, our CEO, he was gonna throw out a like an orbital bombardment, which is basically you're raining down fire on the battleground. And someone accidentally shot him in his right arm, so he dropped the thing on the extraction shuttle where we all were, and everyone died. I mean, it's just those silly things that are like, it's those things to me.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah, I was the one who shot his arm. So,
You are.
Yeah.
Okay. My favorite moment, I think I have several. So personally, my favorite moment, I think, was the first time I played and we went down into a bug hive. I think the reason it was a favorite moment for me was because at that time I had only played the game because it's a procedurally generated dynamic game, right? So you can land anywhere. It can be night or day. You choose. You will see if you will drop down on the night side of a planet or a day side of a planet. And the weathers are also very different. Sometimes it's clear weather, sometimes there's storm, etc. So at that point I had only played in a clear weather, right? But then I went down to a bug hive and everything started getting very, foggy, misty, spooky. So it turned into like a pretty scary game for me, right? And then we encountered the Bile Titan, which is like a huge bug that I had no idea at that point that it existed. So for me, just having that shift from being like, it's a pretty happy game to just going into that setting where everything turned scary and there was a huge monster attacking me, that just like, it just made it so special for me because I realized that you can have so many different types of experiences and it was just so fun to do that with friends. But the second one, and I think this is actually for me as a developer, this is a stronger experience. That was the first time that we watched a user test. So when we do user testing, and this is true for all studios, then you get people to come and play your game, and you just observe them. You just see what are they doing, right? So I remember fondly there was one girl who came in and played, and she played solo, but it was very fun to watch her play because she was so close to just failing the mission, but she kept just pushing and pushing and pushing, and then she was getting into the extraction shuttle when she was just about to die. I thought for several minutes I thought like she won't make it, she'll fail the mission, but she just kept pushing, and eventually she got in, and she was so like you could see her like her eyes were like strained because she was so focused. And also pretty easy mission. I think it was the first difficulty, but still she was like really pushing it, and she actually got in. And I was cheering for her so much. Yeah. And she started she started doing this with sweat, and just like, oh god, she dropped the controller, and just like that. Just looking at that was so fun. So that was I don't know. It was special to me because it was the first when we had that user test. That was the first time I saw anyone play our game. And it meant so much for me to just see, like, I don't even know if she enjoyed it, but I enjoyed watching her suffer anyway. That was so fun. Yeah, so that's also a precious memory.
I guess now that Helldivers 2 is not done, but it's launched and you'll keep on doing the live service part.
Yeah.
Are there any plans on a Magica 2?
We cannot say anything about that. No.
We can only talk about Helldivers.
We can only talk about Helldivers too, yeah. Cool. So you're a Magica fan?
Yeah, I played it way back. What is it, like 12, 14 years now?
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's depressingly far back in the past, but happy to hear that. Yeah.